There's a new pizza in town. With this pizza, it's all about capturing air. It's called the Pizza Canotto. This translates to inflatable boat. So the Canotto is an offshoot of the traditional Neapolitan pizza. It has the same 4 ingredients: water, flour, salt, yeast. It's baked at the same high temperatures, has the same char spots on the crust, a soft and wet center, and it's goddamn delicious, just like the Neapolitan pizza. So what's the difference? It's the crust. Canotto has a huge crust. I like big, but what makes the crust so big? It's the gas bubbles trapped inside the dough. These will expand during the bake. The gases that were created during this long and slow cold fermentation process are blowing up the crust, but they're also adding lots and lots of flavor, and they're making the pizza easier to digest. Do you want to know more about this technique? Then check out my video on how to cold ferment your pizza dough. How to Canotto. Start by making your dough. You will need 100% Tipo 00 flour, 70 to 80% water. But if this is the first time you're working with such a high hydration in your dough, then use 70 or even 86% of water, since it's very hard to handle this dough. Take 3% sea salt and 0.4% yeast, fresh yeast. If you don't have fresh yeast, go for the dry variation, but only use half of the amount, so 0.2%, since it's much more potent than the fresh yeast. If you need some help with all these calculations, don't worry. Go to pizzadoughcalculator.com, press on Style, change it to Canotto, press on Enter, and kaboom! Your own custom recipe. This recipe is very close to the traditional Neapolitan pizza recipe. Only 2 very important changes have been made. So there's a little bit more yeast and a lot more water. Both in order to create that huge crust. The extra yeast will create more gases, and the extra water will make the dough much more elastic. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Here I got a balloon, fresh out of the package. Nothing. Now let's increase the elasticity. Science, baby. So to let the yeast blow up your crust like a balloon, you need to add more water, because water means more elasticity in the dough. Okay, so we made our dough, place it into an airtight container, close the lid, put it into the refrigerator, and leave it there between 16 and 72 hours. So we take our dough out of the fridge and we make dough balls of 250 grams for a 30 centimeter pizza. Now we let our dough come to room temperature. This is about 22 degrees. Depending on where you live and what time of the year it is, this can take between 2 and 8 hours. And it's very, very important, because when the dough comes out of the fridge, the yeast will warm up and start creating more gases. And more gases equals a big, humongous, gigantic crust. Second, so when the gluten come out of the fridge, they're very tense. And you need to give them some time to warm up, relax, so they can get a bit stretchy, elastic, and ready for expansion. Our dough is now at room temperature, and it's filled with hundreds of little gas buckets, bursting of aromas, flavors, and just pure goodness. So your only job is not to this shit up. The way you do that is by gently pushing the air pockets to the side, where they can all hang out together, waiting for the big moment. There are several techniques to do this, but most of them are only here to impress, executed by showboat pizzaiolos. First step, pounding of the dough. You start in the middle by gently pushing the gas pockets to the outer rim of the pizza. Rotate the pizza and repeat. It's time for step 2, the stretching of the dough. The way you do this is you hold your hands up like this, you're gonna put the dough on top of it, and you're gonna gently pull the dough apart. So stretch, rotate, stretch, rotate, stretch, until you're happy about the size of your pizza. Then you put it back, you can sauce it, and you can make your pizza. This is important because you and your dough have been on a long journey together, and you both like to rise up to new pizza levels. But too much sauce can weigh you down. Let me show you. Pizza no sauce, the whole thing blows up like a balloon. Pizza with a lot of sauce and a lot of toppings, it wants to go, but the sauce is holding it down.
And that's why you have to experiment with the sauce to crust ratio.
About 2 centimeters of clean dough should do the trick. It's finally going to happen. Will the crust inflate? Will the boat stay afloat? For this final step, you'll need an oven that can handle lots and lots of heat. You'll need at least 450 degrees Celsius. The way you do this with my oven is to chop small logs, length about 25 centimeters and a diameter of about 3 centimeters. Stand them up against the back panel. This way the fire goes up and over the pizza, creating a massive top heat. Turn it, check the bottom. It's ready when it has little char spots and a golden brown color. If the top of the crust still needs some heat, then lift up the pizza. This way the bottom stops cooking while the crust continues. Okay, now this is why you put in all the hard work. Look at that crust. All the little gas bubbles expanding in the oven, and it looks amazing. Pizza Canotto! It floats!